In this video, we will review chapters 7 and 8 and 9 and 10. Chapter 7, we talked about self-disclosure. In a relationship, disclosure is the process of revealing information, revealing confidential information. Self-disclosure is when you make a decision, you deliberately choose to share confidential information about yourself. The social penetration theory really describes the different types of self-disclosure that you use in your relationships. We talk about the breadth of disclosure. So if you meet someone for the first time, you might only share a few things, but as you get to know someone, you're going to share a lot more information, different types of information. When you are in a very close relationship, you'll find that there is more depth to your self-disclosure. What I mean is that when you meet someone for the first time, you might talk about, where you work, bands that you listen to. You might mention, where you live, some demographic information, what classes that you're taking. But once you get to know them, a friendship, a relationship develops, and you begin disclosing. You might share more information about which are your favorite classes, why you took this particular class, why it's important to your major, what you want to do with your life, your career ambitions. So you just get into a deeper level of discussion. So when you think about disclosure in a relationship, what are some of the benefits of that? Well, first of all, it builds intimacy and it builds trust. You know that in good relationships, the disclosure is reciprocal. Because if you disclose a lot of information and the other person doesn't, you feel, kind of like you're in a one-way relationship, right? Some of the guidelines for self-disclosure. You want to disclose the kind of information that you want someone else to disclose to you. And you move gradually, as your relationship develops, you move gradually to deeper levels of self-disclosure. And you'll find that you may only continue to disclose information when it is reciprocated. Now, remember that if you're going to share feelings about something, identify what triggered the feeling and the specific emotion you feel. And if you provide personal feedback, describe the specific behavior, similar to the perception checking that we did. You always want to praise positive behavior and give constructive criticism. But what are some of the risks of self-disclosure? Disclosure, maybe it won't be reciprocated. And another risk is that if you disclose confidential information between a friend that you don't want repeated, well, what if that friend repeats it anyway? That's a risk when you disclose. If you disclose that you were arrested for shoplifting at the age of 14, that might be something you share with a personal friend. And you don't want everybody in your social circle to know that you were arrested for shoplifting. So that's one of the risks, that confidential information could be shared inappropriately. All right, remember the Johari window. So this model looks at two interpersonal communication dimensions, the willingness to self-disclose and receptivity to feedback. So this is really a way to examine the relationship between disclosure and feedback that you have in relationships. So if you have information that you know about yourself, but your partner doesn't know, you share that information through self-disclosure, and it moves into the open pane. The blind pane refers to information that you may not know it, but someone else observes it of you. So if you are giving a speech, for example, and you have a tendency to shift from left foot to right foot to left foot to right foot, you may not realize that. So you're blind to it. You don't know it, but someone shares it with you and says, hey, did you know that you do this? Well, that information then moves from the blind window to the open window. And then there's information where nobody knows the information at all. So your friend doesn't see it and you don't see it. But once you become aware of it, once you get information about yourself, it might go into the secret pane, or you could share it and move it into the open pane. So, for example, let's talk about ziplining. So, if you've never tried to zipline, you don't know, and your friends don't know whether you're going to like it or not. But once you try it, then whether you like it or not moves into the secret pane. If you choose to share that with your friends, then it moves into the open pane. And as you disclose more information, then the open pane becomes larger and the secret pane becomes smaller. The social exchange theory. This states that, and it's just a theory, it's not set in stone, but this theory states that we're always looking at our relationships based on the rewards that we get. And the rewards could be things like support and attention. And you look at it versus the costs. So the cost to you might be your time, your energy, and your support. So you expect that in a relationship that you're going to get out of it what you put in. So it's not that every time you do something nice for a friend that they're going to immediately turn around and do something for you, but that over time things kind of balance out. And exchange refers to the fact that you expect that you can go to people for support when needed. And keep in mind, this isn't a rule, it's a theory. But think about, what you can learn about being a good friend from the social exchange theory. All right, dialectics. Dialectics in interpersonal relationships. These refer to tensions that you have in a relationship. So, for example, in the autonomy connection dialectic, this means you might want to be your own person, but you also want to be part of a whole group. For example, let's say that you complete your studies at Jefferson College and you decide to transfer to a four-year university in another state. So you want to be independent, but at the same time, you want to stay connected to your family. So, do you come home every weekend or do you stay at school? That tension is this autonomy connection dialectic. Openness or closedness, openness or privacy. So you want to share personal information, you want to disclose information to someone, but at the same time, you want to keep some things private. So that's this tension, this relational dialectic. Open, you want to be open, but it's sometimes you still want to keep things private, keep things closed off. Novelty and predictability. So you might like surprises. Everybody likes surprises, right? But you also like some predictability. You want to be able to, if you're in a relationship, you might like new things, to be surprised by something that your partner does for you. But at the same time, you like predictability. You want to know that that person, is always going to be there for you, and you want to be able to predict their reactions. Okay, we move into chapters 9 and 10. So work groups, and this is specific to work groups. Goals that they have meet these 4 criteria. They're specific, they have a common purpose, they're challenging, and they are shared. Remember the stages of group development: forming, storming, norming, performing, and then either adjourning or transforming. Sure that you understand the process that a group goes through and what happens in each of these phases. We talked about groupthink. Being in a group and conforming to group norms and promoting group cohesiveness is a good thing. But sometimes you can have too much of a good thing. And groupthink is where the group moves along and nobody challenges the ideas. And sometimes that can lead to bad decision making. So here are some of the symptoms of groupthink. And here's how you prevent groupthink. Every member of the team has to think critically, ask questions, and what's important is that you either pick someone to be a devil's advocate, or you find someone in the group who is a devil's advocate and will take an opposite position and challenge decisions to make sure that the decisions that are being made are the best. Okay, Dilbert's Guide to Effective Meetings. I have a separate video out there that I'd like you to take a look at. So I'm not going to spend time here going through it, but I'd like you to take a look at that and know how to run an effective meeting. And that brings us to the end of the review for chapters 7, 8, 9, and 10.